When I was in graduate school, my father, when I finished, I got a degree in printmaking, not that useful. My father bid on this really cool, it's not quite what it seems, but George Cruikshank was a famous illustrator in the 19th century from England, and they bought this. It was $220. That's what the auction gallery in Milwaukee, they were paddle 12 when they bought this. I made a box for it because it's not in the greatest condition, and it's actually etchings. It's not a real sketchbook, but it was bound, I don't know how long ago, I guess I could look, into this beautiful old, this is a red leather, this is called red rot. That's what happens to this old leather book. This is a hand marbled paper. Bound by Mansell. So it's kind of a strange book, but painter, philanthropist, and patriot in memoriam. Born September 27th, 1792, died February 1st, 1879. And that's where he's buried. The painter, anyway, his sons were famous illustrators too. So this is a strangely bound book. He got a whole bunch of, I think he had published sort of, quote, sketchbooks. This is a lithograph, actually, it looks like. I guess that was him. Sketchbooks of his, see, this was, I think, a book at one point, this sketchbook. That he had published of his work. This is a guy blowing bubbles. You can feel the paper's a little bit depressed where it bit into the paper. So it's this weird paper that's been sort of glued. You can see the back of it. You can see the impression it made on it. These are slightly different. Price, 2 shillings 6D, whatever that is, plain, 3 shillings 6D colored. Oh, so it's a little more, it's an extra shilling for the colored version. And what's cool about this book is it's hand colored. This is all watercolor on these etchings. This is from 1834, this one. You can see it kind of, the impression from the ink kind of came off on this page. And because my dad knew that I was really into sketchbooks, so, I mean, it's really gorgeous. I mean, look at these caricatures. And you know, these are etchings, and when you, so what he did essentially was, this is like a coated copper or maybe zinc plate with a, like a tar type substance, really thin tar type substance, and you scratch it off and then you expose it to acid, and then you wash the tar off, and that acid ate away at the plate where you drew on it, and then you put ink inside of that, on top of that, polish it off. The ink only lands inside the lines where you had where the acid etched, and then you press paper into it. So that's what these etchings are, and they're really gorgeous. Like, you can see some very light impressions on little sketches. Like, this was, I guess, his sketchbook somehow. I don't know. It doesn't really make that much sense that it was literally a sketchbook. Like, I think he was famous, and so he remade a book of his sketches. And then I guess for an extra shilling, you could have one that was hand-colored. Probably, almost definitely not by him. But the Tomb of Napoleon, Little Napoleon. Aren't these gorgeous? Some of the pages have been rotted away, but it's still intact. That dog's lifting himself up by his own tail. Isn't that wonderful? Portrait of a remarkable little dog who was curled so tight that it lifted him off his hind legs. I mean, this is so cool. I love looking at this every once in a while, and I'm actually starting to do a little more portrait sketches, and I've been looking at this lately, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. This is the best. This is, I think he's kind of famous for this. The frogs leaping over each other. Some very un-PC caricature stuff that was okay then, that is not okay now. Again, he's English. This is from the mid 1800s, so right around when the U.S. was during their Civil War. So again, everything that you see, all the writing was written backwards because you have to write backwards in order for it to print forwards. I love these little stick figure guys, right? Like, that's a sketch, and that's obviously not a stick figure, but wow, right? Right. Look at that horse. Woo! I'm real paranoid about taking this out of the box too much. I mean, I built the box specifically to house the book because it's fragile, and I don't really like taking it out that often. Like, I'll go years with keeping it closed. I graduated in 1998, and my dad gave it to me then. And this is one of the coolest things I ever received as a gift, and one of the coolest things I have. Drawing for the Militia. 1834. Ooh, look at these faces. So many faces. This looks like someone actually wrote on the print. I know I probably shouldn't be touching with my fingers, but they're dry and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't think these are that valuable all on their own, but the book may be more valuable. I'm not sure. There's probably a lot of these out there. It smells like it's not in good shape. But, you know, you keep it closed, not exposed to the air or sun, it's going to last another 200 years easy. Again, attitudes toward race were fucked up back then. So someone bound, I think this is several of his sketchbooks he had published that were bound into one big book. This reminds me of that Struwwel Peter book, of those poems of that insane, a dentist, I think from Austria or Germany from the 19th century, early 19th century, drew all these crazy stories of children getting their fingers chopped off and set on fire, and this is like a much more refined version of the same kind of style. Struwwel Peter is very primitive. Look at that guy. That's so cool. I guess it's his demon, kind of like. I mean, people just don't generally draw like this anymore. A comic almanac for 1835. Illustrations of time. So this is the same thing, but these are different. Look at that butterfly kid. Fat butterfly boy. Horse hospital. So much action going on. I love how this is composed too. Quack pill boxes. Like curly guy. It's got made out of curly cues. Comic almanac, 1835. More front page. Whoa! Look at this one. Pit boxes gallery. Three Mr. Rods. I guess they have a rod for the gun, a rod for the horse, and a fishing rod. Oh, Nimrod, Ramrod, and fishing rod, yeah. Cruikshank George, my sketchbook. 37 plates filled with highly humorous designs. God knows when this was put in there. Anyway, whoops. It's just one or two pages that are falling out. Looks like we might have been missing a page, but maybe that's why it was only $220. And this is my box that I built for it. It's a little tight, but it's good. It's good. I'm happy with it.